Good morning. Until you are awake, you are asleep. There are no levels of awakening. There are no levels of awakening. All ordering of consciousness is absurd. It's simply done by people who are asleep, grading the patterns of their sleep. If you were to ask somebody who's awake what awakening is and how to tell if someone is awake or not, they would tell you that it doesn't matter. And until you are awake, you'll never know why it doesn't matter. It only matters to people who are not awake. Awakening is not something that you do from effort. So it's not something that you can do from meditation or following your strategy and your authority for endless numbers of years. It is something that happens to you without your doing. It is something that is done to you and through you. It doesn't matter how much Kundalini practices you have done or anything. It doesn't matter. It's something that happens to you and it can't be solved until it happens to you. Furthermore, the more that you try to awaken, the more it won't. Like it's not going to yield to your willpower, your pressure. And there's no signs that are about to show that you're awake or not. Like it's just happens or it doesn't. And you have to fully surrender to the fact that you might awaken or you might not. Even the words that I'm saying right now will be misinterpreted regardless to the unawakened mind. So it doesn't matter. You just have to say whatever it is you're going to say. And the people that will hear, and the people that won't, just won't. Mystical experiences or behaviors, doesn't matter how long you've been practicing these behaviors or how many experiences you have, it does not mean that you are awake. It's just an ability to see through everything. And it also doesn't like come and go. Once you are awake, you're just awake. Awakening is something that happens on a physical level, but it's not because of strategy and authority. Strategy and authority does help prepare the mind because it takes the mind out of the equation. It allows the mind to start paying attention to the body, to start paying attention to the frequency that is coming through the body, which does help and does shift the cellular, it does create a cellular transformation, but it does not, it sort of prepares the body as a vessel for awakening, but it does not mean that awakening will happen. It does not mean that following your strategy and authority will automatically create an awakening for you. By following your strategy and your authority, taking your mind out of the equation, it removes that conditioning element to bring you back into your uniqueness, and which it allows your uniqueness to come through. And by being your most authentic self, then you have the potential for awakening. But even then, it does not mean that awakening will happen to you. It does not mean that you can do anything for it to happen. It is going to happen or not. When the awakening happens, it's like a leap into the void. And it's not that you even take that leap, it's that the leap takes you and pushes you into the void. So really, and nothing can really prepare you for that leap, and there's no signs that say it's about to happen. It just happens or not. Following your strategy and your authority gives you some practical tools to be able to work with this form and understand the frequencies of the people around you and how you interact with them, which you're still going to need even if you're awake or not. So these are, human design is a practical tool to work with the body and mind, but it's not your awakening. And once you're awake, you can't go back to sleep. You can't go back to sleep, even if you want to. Awakening is a huge shock. And that shock is not something that you can do, but you can start to see the patterns of your not self whenever you study human design. And human design allows you to decode the energies of your mind, your perception, and the energies of your body and how they're in conflict, and how that conflict is actually creating the not self, which is then impacted by your conditioning, which then leads to your strengths. But it doesn't mean that you are awake. It doesn't mean that awakening has happened to you. And one day, all of humanity is going to wake up, and it's going to come in a blinking of an eye. That will be the biggest shock. But right now, there's no culture of awakeness. There's no woke culture. It's a woke individual that can see, that has experience, that has gotten the physical mutation of awakening. But it does not mean that by knowing all these different systems or practicing your strategy and your authority or even experiencing the cellular level transitions that happen because of it does not mean that you are awake. Following strategy and authority does help, even if you're awake or not. So it does assist with the mind relinquishing control over its reality and paying attention to the nuances that's happening inside of the body, to allow the body to be moved and guided and drawn to and brought with the experiences and the people and the situations that are correct for you. So that information is a practical tool that helps whether you are awakened or not. And it does help with your cellular transformation. But it does not mean that you have received the physical download of awakening. And that is something that happens or not. And my hope is whoever I interact with, whoever interacts with this video even, has an opportunity of awakeness.